Somebody find the quote of what I said. And I will keep saying things like that. And I'll constantly keep doing things like that. And I hope Hasan keeps.
He's so badass, dude. He's so badass. I like that. I like that. It's just, this is not what I said at all. Like, my point is, and I'm going to repeat it one more time. Okay. Also, I saw this. Every generation of Twitch streamers, before we dive into like the news head first, every generation of Twitch streamers has this exact same issue. Here is Stable Ronaldo calls out the fakeness in the streaming industry, saying people genuinely don't like each other anymore, and he can't figure out the reason. There's plenty of money viewership content. I don't know why this is a thing. This has happened in every single generation of streamers, okay? Every single one. Every single one. I came up with the crop of talent. Like, before my generation, the generation prior to mine was like Ninja, Tfue, Pokimane, right? They all popped off. And then my generation of streamers were like, myself, XQC. I think it was like Nick Merckx as well, kind of. You could put them in there. Who else? Mizkif, that was another one. Ludwig, right? Cutie Cinderella. Like, this was our gen of content creators. And if you notice, like, there's a lot of drama in that gen. Like, there's a lot of people who have actively fought one another and don't with each other at all any longer. And now this generation after us is like Aiden, Speed, Kai, and then I guess like the second version of that has been like the Phase Boys as well, if you want to loop all of them under the same umbrella. And there are always content creators in this space that just kind of do their own thing. Lyric is a great example of this, right? Moon, Lyric, like there are always content creators that like kind of do their own thing, right? But there's also content creators who collaborate with one another. Like, I would say Keizo is like this new generation's version of like Lyric, right? Keizo just does his own thing. He like collabs with people every now and then, but he just like stays out of everything. He stays out of trouble. He stays out of drama. He's great. And basically, I mean, he's been doing his own thing. He's popping off. Whereas like a lot of these other guys, they collaborate with one another, myself included, right? And ultimately, from my personal experience, what I've seen that has taken place is that when money gets involved, when there's too much money to be made, when there's too much clout, okay, I think ultimately people find themselves fighting over one another and like fighting for like the seat at the top, I guess. It becomes like very transactional. Relationships become very transactional because like before 2020, a lot of content creators were just like friends with one another, like legitimately friends with one another, right? In my generation of content creators, like the top dogs, we were all friends with one another. We like legitimately hung out with one another, Trainwrecks, XQC, even Asmongold from time to time. And it wasn't like a thing. It wasn't a big ordeal to just like collaborate with someone, right? And at the time, their opinions weren't the way that they are. So when you say like ew, you're reflecting on that with like today's opinion. You're reflecting on what these guys look like now, or what these guys say now, but it wasn't like that back then. They just weren't like that at all. And I think throughout time, I feel like those collaborations became like more serious, more professional. Like there was an expectation, a tit for tat. It became way more transactional, right? And people got segmented. I think like the big nuclear bomb in terms of like my generation, like no longer collaborating with one another and no longer having us, I would say was like during COVID, XQC's mistreatment of other content creators kind of started this drama a little bit because he would just like treat every content creator like an NPC. And because he was rewarded tremendously for that, no one really said anything about it. And a lot of people just like kind of let it happen. It wasn't even just GTRP. It was like Among Us, GTRP, No Pixel. Every time there was like a serious collaboration, like that's where it initially started. That's where the fissures initially started. And, you know, there were some people who called him out. I wonder who those people are. And, you know, they got yelled at quite a bit. And I was doing that as a friend, too, like at the time, because we were still close. And then after that, it just like kind of kept spiraling over and over again. Then there was the kick ordeal. A lot of these guys were getting money from a crypto gambling casino online. And, you know, of course, when financial interests come into play, there's also obviously like people that want to protect their bag. And then Kick gets created as a website after stake.com is banned off of Twitch. And in the process, a lot of the people that went over there they had a lot of animosity. They had a lot of anger towards those who didn't. And then I think like the big nuke obviously was the Miskiff train wreck stuff, right? And it just imploded, and no one ever. People became extra cliquey, and no one ever hung out with one another the same way ever again after that. But that was just my gen, right? A long, convoluted, complicated Twitch history. And now I think this is happening for these guys as well a little bit, you know?
I was the smallest one here. I don't think my take on this is, I actually have a take. Let's start. Oh, should I start starting?
It's very cloud driven. Ludwig talked about how so many creators talked to him after streamer games about not being invited, including Neon. That's so funny to me because I've been friends with most of the people that were there for literally like the past 6 years. Okay, including all the new talent. I'm pretty friendly with them, and I'm not upset. You know what I mean? Like, is someone random getting upset after like never having any relationship whatsoever? Not even upset, because I understand, like, you know, you have to fund these big initiatives, and some of those companies that fund these big initiatives are obviously going to be companies that work with the state of Israel and are not too fond of my commentary on that same state of Israel, or even actively fund Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. So that's so funny that like people get mad. They really hated you for being the face of getting state banned off Twitch. Yeah.
Myself into this a little bit. I don't actually think streamers have egos. I think streamers just don't like each other. Simple as that. And it's not based off egos. It's just based off they just don't like each other. And people fake friendships. And put question marks all you want. I'm going to be honest. I just don't think people like each other. I don't really know why. I think there's plenty of money for everyone. There's plenty of viewers.
This is the healthy attitude to have on this, for the record. I do think there's a lot of ego involved as well. But I think there's a lot of clout. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of money. There's financial interests involved as well. And once like money, in my experience, what I have realized is once money is a part of this process, and people get driven by that financial imperative, as opposed to just like taking whatever money you're making and like being excited at the prospect, being excited at how fortunate we are to even be at this position, instead of just like actively just like hanging out with friends and trying to make people trying to entertain people. It turns into this like transactional relationship. Like who can I do this with? Who can I get clout off of? That kind of thing. I can't imagine having to pretend to like my coworkers to make more money. I am fortunate enough to have never had to do any of that. You act like it's not a job. I mean, it is a job, but it's also not a job, if you know what I mean. It's not like a real job, especially for like a lot of content creators. What kind of, like, look, I log in every day. I clock in. I'm doing news commentary for like, 10 hours, not 10 hours, but like 8 hours, right? A lot of these guys are just hanging out. They're playing golf. They're rizzing girls up. You know what I mean? Like it's a job in the sense of like, it's still supposed to be entertaining. You're supposed to be doing okay. People are saying 6 hours. Fucking chatters. Jesus Christ. Like for a lot of these guys, they're just like having fun and filming themselves in the process of having fun and making a lot of money. And it's amazing. And I say this as someone who thinks my position, which is definitely a little bit more serialized and a little bit more serious than what these guys are doing, as an unimaginably immensely privileged position to begin with as well. So anyway, no love for Wubby7. Wait, what do you mean? What happened? No, dude, what are you talking about? Wubby's doing incredible shit with Will right now. IRL streaming is way more exhausting than desktop. I disagree with that. As someone who does both, you're actually 100% wrong. Leaked? What? I didn't leak shit. He said that's true. If you think it's bad on mainstream channels, it's extra bad in the VTuber space. No, I will stand on that. I think desktop streams are harder and worse on your fucking mental and have a worse toll than doing IRL streams. I do both. I do both. I'm telling you, I've done both for years. Okay. One of the best aspects of Twitch was that there is like a big community here, you know? There was a massive community here where content creators would like genuinely get together and hang out and have fun. And that's gone. And that kind of sucks that it's gone. Okay? It fucking sucks. But that's why I love the FaZe boys, because they just still keep that energy. Yeah, but you don't do both at the same extent. Like, you ain't IRL streaming 8 hours a day for weeks on end, lol. You just flop for a few days. I mean, but in my experience, when I do like 4, 5, 6 hour IRL streams, like, I recognize this when I started going to the protests. Okay? I was in the middle of these fucking protests getting shot at for like 4 hours straight, getting fucking pepper sprayed and shit. And that literally took less out of me than sitting here and having to listen to chatters yell at me over fucking minutia. I would rather go to a protest and get shot at, okay, than have to sit through like a drama segment with members of my community fucking chirping at me over like some minor disagreement that they've decided is the absolute worst possible thing that could have ever happened. Yeah. I mean, fair law. Also, chat. I mean, flip. It's fine. I'm telling you, I love this community. Lol, he hates the chat. Lol. No, I love my community. I'm an incredibly fortunate person, but I'm telling you, it takes a fucking mental toll. Okay, I'm telling you. You're so sensitive, HasanAbi. Wait, what? Anyway. I'm demanding an apology for you interviewing the ice cream man. Anyway, does chat appear in your dreams? Not as much anymore, honestly. I don't know what happened. I don't know at what point. Because, like, remember, I used to talk about how, like, I would debate in my dreams, right? Like, I would come up with, like, talking points sometimes. Like, I would come up with, like, commentary in my mind while I'm sleeping, while I'm dreaming. And then I would wake up and then I would write it down. I'd be like, damn, that's a good fucking talking point. And I'm always on, but -10 aura, I'm always on. I mean, it's not aura. Nothing I do is aura. Let's be real. Maybe if there was like daily fun like the old days, it wouldn't be so bad. Can you believe we used to watch real estate videos? Modern chat would kill you for that. No, I know. I'm working on it. I'm working on it actively. That's why we're doing the community census. That's why I'm bringing back Chad Vice with not one, but 2 special guests. Second special guest is being announced right now at this moment. Chad Vice tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Vanilla Mace and FaZe Adapt. That's right. It's going to be a fucking banger. Okay. I am so stoked. Yep. Weak ego, to be honest. Wait, what? Weak ego. Fake friend. Do IRL every day. Okay, dude, train is the same. Weak ego, to be honest. You don't have to ban guys like that for saying that. It's fine. You can say stuff like that. I'm not even like, I'm not frustrated by any of this, by the way. I'm just telling you, like, this is in spite of all of the tremendous fortune that I have seen in my fucking life and in my career in particular. I don't know how we moved on to like IRL. I think is like more fun to do and less like brain and soul sucking than a desktop. It could just be a me thing, to be honest. Bet you won't read this. Do you think about chat after you nut? See. Do you understand what I mean when I say this shit is worse than fucking IRL streams? Do you understand it, chatter? Do you understand it better now? Do you understand it better now? Do you understand it better now? Okay? Example proven instantly. Okay, instantly proving my goddamn point. Listen. The thing is, the reason why I say IRL is better in general than desktop is also because, like, I think being outside is healthier than having all of your interactions be on the internet. That's it. Because, like, I interact with fans nonstop. In the real world when I go out, right? And none of them are asking me questions like that. Because, as I always say, human beings in the motherfucking real world, in the meat space, behave very differently than human beings on the internet. The same guy who will say some shit like that is not going to do that. Anyway, that's a joke anyway. I'm not like being serious or sincere about that.
Shit for everyone, and there's plenty of content for everyone. I don't really know why this is even like a thing. Like, I just don't know why people are scared to say they don't like people. I was a small sweat.
Don't you feel like you can? One guy did say, "I'm shaking. D owns you" or something. Yeah, exactly. That's the one time where like a internet cringe lord behaved like he was an internet cringe lord, but in real life, and it was such an inconsequential experience. It was such an inconsequential experience overall, and it was like a major fucking own for that person. That you know, it basically, the problem took care of itself. And speaking of which, by the way, that very same person who has egged on his fans to like stalk me in real life, because the Destiny owns you guy was from this sex pest who has now been outed as a pedophile as well from his community. Here's what he recently had to say, and then we're going to move on to the news.
If this is the norm for political justify attacking or killing Hasan, 100%. If it's going to be that every single Zionist, every single Jew, everybody in Israel, even your content creator's wife or whatever in the West Bank, like, if that's the norm, then you could basically kill every online content creator you want. Like, if that's how we're going to run these norms down, it's fucking insane. I don't know, somebody find the quote of what I said. And I will keep saying things like that, and I'll constantly keep doing things like that. And I hope Hasan keeps.
He's so badass, dude. He's so badass. I like that. I like that. It's just, this is not what I said at all. Like, my point is, and I'm going to repeat it one more time. Okay. It doesn't matter who this person is. It doesn't matter if it's your favorite content creator. It doesn't matter if it's me. If I went in, joined the Israeli occupying force, okay, trained with the Israeli occupying force, went into the occupied West Bank territory on a night raid, and I got shot at, that's free game. Okay? Because the occupied people have a legal right to militarily resist against the occupational force. That's it. That is a matter of international law. Take it up with the UN. You can clearly, people try to actively move the conversation away to something I didn't say, because that's a position that you can't really defend. Right? That's not like, you can't just be like, I don't think that occupied people have a legal right to militarily resist, engage in armed struggle against an occupational force. This has nothing to do with like individual content creators. Like, what I'm talking about is very clearly well defined within international law, and also reiterated over and over and over again. Okay. What he's trying to say is, oh, dude, you should go and kill Hasan. You know, that's it. It doesn't matter who it is. New name, child molestiny. Yeah.
Fucking crying about it. And I hope that fucking Ethan misquotes me because of some shit Hasan said. I don't give a fuck. If this is
Ethan and Hila scold Destiny for helping Hasan reframe the conversation to victimize himself. Destiny has nothing to do with what Hasan did to me. He had a flawless victory, and his dumbass gave Hasan the ability to cry and be victim. Okay. That's interesting. Anyway, ooh. Gray bars again. The gray is back. Yeah, this is not the first content creator that is like actively called upon their fans to kill me, and it probably won't be the last. As a matter of fact, this fucking dipshit was hanging out with famous pedophile neo-Nazi. Now we know why he was hanging out with him on his own stream. Also, at the time when that pedophile neo-Nazi Sam Hyde was also doing the haha Hassan Piker, I'm going to come to your house and kill you. So this is not the first time he's done shit like this. See Samstony. Anyway. Stockman pieced out on his podcast with Epstein. Yeah, that's bullshit. He's just trying to, I think the reason why his second in command, who utilizes his community because he has no motion outside of that, to engage in these like stalking operations is only distancing himself because he is an advertiser of Ethan Klein's podcast. And he feels like it's going to look bad for Ethan if Ethan attacks me. And then I turn around and say, dude, you're getting money from this dude who is giving you all these talking points and this community that is like actively defending someone trying to procure child sexual abuse material. Like, what the fuck? You have no leg to stand on. So I think Dan thinks if he just like cuts ties for a little bit after actively defending Destiny, hopefully that'll give Ethan some stronger legs to stand on, when in fact it doesn't work that way. I mean, this is his business partner. Dan Saltman is the person that is the connective tissue between these two people. And he is directly funding. He's one of the last remaining podcast funders, redact.dev. As you guys know, that's Dan Saltman's company. And he's giving the talking points to Ethan, and his community is actively in here. They're in here probably right now, losing their fucking minds, looking for something that they can misconstrue, as they do every single day. This clip was posted on the Destiny. Wait, what? They're defending D, losing my mind at the complete inversion of reality here. Then I remember that the H3 sub has been completely taken over by Destiny fans. They all think Destiny's a victim of a years-long harassment campaign by Hasan when it's the other way around. Hasan ignored him for years. Yeah, so that's awesome. The only thing I will say here is that Destiny has been dealing with Hasan for far, far longer than Ethan. Ethan literally said that Hasan brought up Destiny the first time they met in person. He survived like 6 years of Hasan's constant campaigns against him. He used to not pay any attention to them, but that led him to getting the current reputation he has now, where Hasan will lie about him to others, painting the most horrible picture of him that still somewhat persists. There's a reason why people that get yanked from Hasan's cult literally only have to watch like one full video of his to realize he's been lying about him all this time. It's quite hard to overstate just how deep the Destiny Hasan feud goes. When you've seen how bad these communities are at their worst for like over half a decade, you lose any hope that the high ground will matter. What I really find funny about this is not only is it just the exact opposite of the reality, but my favorite is when they do like the liberal Zionist position between me and Destiny. The liberal Zionists like, well, both sides are kind of fucked. It's like, no, this is not a both sides situation, man. This has been an active cyber stalking operation with mass harassment initiatives. They always do this with like LSF too. Like LSF is literally run by a moderator in Destiny's community. And if you look at the top post in LSF, it's like Hasan sneezed wrong. And it's like 7,000 upvotes. And then all of the fucking comments underneath it is like, yo, he's the worst person that's ever existed, you know? And then they have the audacity to turn around and be like, Hasan obviously brigades this Discord. It's like, it's weird because it doesn't seem to exist. The Hasan defense on LSF. It's just no motion overall because you just push through it. And as long as you push through it and as long as you abide by your values and you know, keep doing your own thing, a lot of these guys who are just like utterly repulsive, truly evil individuals, they just, you know, they keep fucking themselves up anyway in all of their anger, in all of their resentment, in all of their animosity. If you design your entire worldview around hating one fucking person and you don't have any sort of like discernible values, you are inevitably going to find yourself locked in to, I guess, defending Israel's genocide. Yeah, one community constantly harasses, doxes, stalks your entire family. Anyone you show any positivity towards with botted email campaigns to deplatform, deport, and arrest you. And then this community says, wow, they fucking suck. Also, he's a pedophile. These are the same thing. DOJ dropped the Ghislaine Maxwell tapes. We're going to be taking a look at that as well, of course. It's a dead sub that gets propped up by Epstein guys because their larger subreddit is, the easier it is to get threads posted there to get to the front page of Reddit. Yeah, but I don't think that matters all that much. In the grand scheme of things, like, I think there's only the more the spotlight is on a person like Destiny, the more even people who know him as like, oh, the fast-talking liberal debate guy who owns Republicans realize that maybe he's not such a good guy. And they come to that conclusion on their own. They don't need someone to like lie about who he is or whatever and actively make content about how much of a piece of shit he is by framing things he's saying in the most negative ways possible for 6 years onward. Whereas for Destiny, he has had to do that. And because my position is not exactly popular among neck-bearded incels online who dominate every single fucking space, there is definitely a robust market for fuck Hasan style content amongst apolitical content creators and slop tubers alike. But even then, organically, those guys have realized maybe we shouldn't be aligned with this fucking weirdo loser who is so toxic that he has actively harmed people in his closest orbit. Reminder that Hasan's Freak Squad has threatened to murder Destiny several times. Never happened. Never said that. I can understand why he doesn't give a fuck. He's been targeted by them for years now and has zero faith in Twitch. That's just a lie. And it's not just a lie, but it's like straight up projection. And it's additionally funny because like I've always taken an approach of just gray rocking. That's what it's called, right? When you're dealing with narcissists. I've always taken this approach where I just like don't, for years and years, I did not talk about Destiny at all. And I just kept doing my own thing. And in the beginning, obviously, my community was much smaller than his. And then it grew. And then he never let that go. He never let that, he never lived that down. In the process, he clearly did not take care of his own son, who is now an out and about Nazi. He let his own son be in his Discord where, he turned into a Nazi. I feel terrible about that. And also has done a bunch of illegal things. And every single time he does something like that, his exit ramp has always been, and this is not dissimilar to like what XUC would do back in the day when, people would yell at him about gambling. He'd be like, well, what about Hasan? And then people would be like, oh yeah, you're right. Hasan is worse. Like that's what he does. But after the 11th time that you get like caught doing some fuck shit all on your own, eventually, your people in your fandom are obviously going to go, yeah, man, you're kind of fucked up. Isn't this just internet drama? I mean, seriously, why give these people the time of day now? I mean, this is crimes. It's not just internet drama. He was gloating because you lost a chunk of your audience because of the Palestine coverage and that he was going to have more viewers this year, lol. Anyway, I think they're using bots on Reddit too. I'm from Europe and I've noticed that some threads are being made late at night and early in the morning. No, he has a lot of European social democrats who hate me. Yeah. Also, one thing that I realized that I thought was perhaps a little bit misplaced, but I thought it was like indicative of this space and what it had turned into is the last thing I'm going to say before we move on, was that I thought the top dog in Twitch politics was Asmongold, but something shifted yesterday, and it turns out we actually have a similar number of viewers, as a matter of fact. I mean, he was hitting like 50K every day. He was always like 20K above, sometimes even 60K. I would have like 30K to 40K. He would have 60K. And now it seems like we have the same number of viewers, which is, I don't know what it is. I'm not even saying that this is, I'm not making any inferences about this. I'm not saying that this is like something that Asmongold himself did, but it has been a significant decrease in the viewership after Twitch said that they were going to go after bots. Like I said, though, I don't even think this is like his own doing, for the record. Because like, if you remember when I was talking shit, when I was talking shit about Kick initially, when I was in Japan, not the last time, but like a couple times ago, it was weird that like the three people that were talking shit about Kick was Misgif, Pokimane, and myself, and we all got weirdly botted at the time. Like we had clearly like our view counts shot up, and it was weird. It was like normally in Japan it would be, especially in the weird hours that I was streaming, I would normally have like 20K, but this time I had like 40K. Now it could be because people are getting bored of Donald Trump and pro-Trump content and pro-Trump sentiment. That could probably be a part of this, or you know, maybe whoever was doing it stopped doing it potentially. Why are bots bad? It's because it's fake. It's not real viewership. And Twitch is a very top-heavy platform. So if you are... No, it was bots. You got 30K in under 30 minutes every single day. Yeah, the thing is, when you have... when you're at the top of the just chatting section, for example, then it's a very top-heavy platform. People just come and watch you. Like, organically, real viewers come and watch you as well in that process, right? Whereas, I mean, that's one of the biggest values for botting, and I think people do it for advertisers as well to like justify higher pay rates when they're doing sponsored campaigns and things like that. So what is this? XQC responded. Hasan talks about how right-wing commentary has popped off due to Asmongold and points to XQC copying the same rhetoric. Monkey see, monkey do. See Asmon pop off, making Nick Fuentes jokes. Greatest example. XQC doesn't have any worldview, just saw Asmon. Is it for kick? Is it for clout? Is it for Asmon? Is it grift? Is it for steak? Brother, you got us all biting our nails about this one. He makes fun of conspiracy Andes, yet pushes the most schizo narratives. How is this a schizo narrative? You literally saw Asmongold popping off, and you decided to do political commentary as a meta. And you tried to do the Asmongold style political commentary, and your audience fucking screamed at you for it. Thank God there were fucking juicers who still had like, you know, brain cells and were like, what the fuck do you mean? Why are you trying to talk about politics like Asmongold? You're not doing a good job. His own community was cooking him for fucking months. He knows that that's the case. I think that's part of the reason why he stopped. The craziest thing is like, if XQC just stuck to not doing gambling and not collaborating with like some of the worst fucking content creators and just stayed playing video games and eating his toenails and having a good time, high intensity fucking gaming sessions, he probably would be still one of the top content creators on the fucking platform. But you know, sometimes you make these decisions. Sometimes you make these sorts of decisions, and you know, you have to live with the outcome of said decisions. All right, let's move away from this stuff.